Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Bot Talk from Total Justice Gaming. As always, my name is Joe Tonello. We are going to be looking at another deck profile today. This one I created to be a fun deck, not something super competitive, but something you could take to locals, have some fun, or in my case, what I did with it was take it to my first Wednesday night event over at a local pizza place slash brewery called Tailgate over in Bellevue. For my first event of what I call Bruin Bots, or Bots and Brew. Haven't really decided which way to go. I just know it's a combination of those two words. There I am trying to make a nice centralized place on Wednesday nights for the Nashville area players of Transformers, if there are any. I know I've already gotten a few messages, so that's hopeful. We'll be meeting there Wednesday nights from 6:30 till around 9 or 10, depending on how things go. The first night, which was last Wednesday, I came to demo the game. I brought 3 decks. I brought this, I brought Soundwave, and I brought Major Prowl with that burn from the previous video. Go watch that if you're interested. It's fantastic. And I can say from playtesting, letting other players use it, it really does work. I took quite a bit of damage from Prowl every turn. But enough about that. We're going to be looking at this. So this is a General Optimus Prime, a RC, and a Traxodon. The many reasons why I'm using these guys specifically is for demoing purposes. Any of the original G1 Transformers is very, very good to get people into the game. The moment anybody sees Optimus Prime, a lot of people got immediately interested. It's why this deck and Soundwave were one of the most used at the demo night last Wednesday. RC, because I'm trying to figure out how to work with her. I don't have Wave 1 RC. I do like Wave 3 RC. And Tyraxodon, because I just want to see if I can make something that could work with him. So far, the best thing I've seen around this is Optimus Prime in truck mode, in his alt mode, with RC in bot mode, with Tyraxodon in his target master weapon form. Leads to a lot of fun. The other reason why I like this deck, and I think it's a good fun deck, is because it teaches you a lot of the mechanics at once, especially with Optimus Prime, which we'll take a look at right now. He is a 4/14/3, while in alt form, he gives each of your characters Bold 1 and Tough 1. And then we flip him to bot mode, he becomes a 6/14/2. He consolidates all of his powers into himself, so he gets Bold 1, Tough 1, and Focus 1. So he's a really good teaching character because he gives you teaches Bold, teaches Tough, and teaches Focus. However, the majority of the game, if you're choosing to play with this lineup, I do want to actually try to keep him in truck mode, because our focus is to give RC as much tough and as much bold as possible. That way, when she swings with Tyraxodon, you're getting a lot of bold and you're wiping out the opponent's base defense. So this is why we'll start looking at RC. So RC is, and for Optimus Prime, pardon me, I forgot to name off his abilities or his subtypes. He's a leader, a truck, and melee, and truck in alt mode, and a leader and ranged in bot mode. For Private RC, she is a car and melee. She is a 14/12/1. Her car mode has Focus 1. And RC in bot mode is a 5/12/1. That says, while she has a weapon, she has both Bold 1 and Tough 1. So essentially this deck makes RC able to have Bold 2, Tough 2, which is pretty nice. And swinging in with 5, potentially 8, once Tyraxodon gets on board is pretty nice too. So then we'll move on to our target master. Tyraxodon is a battle master in melee. He is a 3/9/0. He has a standard power in bot mode of when you flip, he becomes a target master and go up into somebody. In his weapon mode, he has +3 attack and an ability that says when an upgraded character attacks and you flip at least a double white pip, the defender's base defense becomes 0 during the battle. So that means A lot of robots are typically around 1 and 2. That's pretty okay. It just means that when they do their defensive flip, they're fighting uphill and they have to start at 0 rather than start at a larger number. This is really, really good against uh, decks that like to stay in alt mode, because the alt modes typically tend to have the stronger defense. So wiping out a 3 defense or a 2 defense or possibly even a 4 defense, I'm not sure if there is a 4 defense. Still relatively new to the game, but I enjoy it nonetheless. Wiping them out and making the opponent start uphill on their defensive flips means you can get more damage in. And it's just a fun deck in general. So going from there, we'll move into our battle deck. We're going to be running 12 white cards. That way it's easier to get Tyraxodon. So we're running 3 copies of Diagnosis. This lets you repair damage, and if your starting team was only Autobots, which it is, you get to draw a card. You'll mostly be using this to heal RC and Prime. RC, even at a respectable 12 life, is a little fragile because she only has 1 defense while in bot mode. So being able to repair any damage and draw a card is always a good thing. Next up, again, because RC is a little bit fragile, we are going to be running 3 copies of Force Field. The reason why there are also 3 Force Fields in this deck is because initially this was going to be a Trailbreaker RC Lionizer deck, and I just couldn't really get that to work. I am still working on where to put my Lionizer. I'm hopefully at some point I'll come across Wave 1 RC. I know that'll make things a little bit better. But the force fields are still really important because, again, RC in bot mode, which is what we're going to keep her, only has 1 defense. So if you're running up against an opposing orange deck, you are going to be needing the force fields to only reduce whatever ridiculous amount of damage they're going to do to you to at least 4 damage, and then use the force field. Going up next, we're running 2 copies of Anticipation Engine. This lets us play... when it swings, we can put it on RC, we can put it on Prime and Truck mode. This will allow us to play an action off the top of the deck if it is an action, so that's pretty good. 2 copies of Quartermaster because I am starting to see in a lot of the other guys' videos, especially from Wreck and Rule's previous stream, they really are starting to move forward with armor and upgrade elimination. I've been seeing Vaporize in other people's decks on both Facebook groups. So I'm going to try to start running Quartermaster in a lot of things. So just to be able to keep Tyraxodon on RC. 2 copies of Datapad. That way, whenever I swing with either Prime or RC, or even Tyraxodon, I can draw a card and plan 1. Moving into our actions, we're going to be running 3 copies of Reckless Charge. I'm putting Reckless Charge in here for the +4 attack. It's not too great with RC because RC has very limited health. I am mostly running this that way I can swing with Tyraxodon to get him onto RC quicker. Meanwhile, making him a 7 attack. But also dealing 3 damage to him. So, again, this is to make Tyraxodon a more viable threat on the attack while simultaneously getting him into weapon mode quicker. Of course, doing 3 supercharges. A lot of this is save for very few cards in this orange area, is a very standard orange build, I guess is the best way of saying it. So we'll just fly through these. Supercharge gives you bold 3. You play 3 of those. Incoming Transmission, you play 2 of these. It's draw 2, plan 1. For our own equipment, hey, I like to run Vaporize. Since it's an orange deck, I'm going to be running 2 copies of Ramming Speed. Just flat out scrap an enemy upgrade. 3 copies of Flamethrower. It's one of your standard orange cards. Gives you bold 2. 3 copies of Erratic Lightning, +3 attack, -1 defense. Probably put that on Taraxodon, making him a... I don't know if that makes him a negative defense. I'd have to go check the rulings on Wasi. But, Erratic Lightning, we can stick that on Taraxodon. We can stick this on Prime. In Trek mode, still make him an even bigger threat by making Prime a 7. We just don't want to stick it on an RC if at all possible. Grenade launcher, 3 of these, scraps after use. We can use this on RC, while Taraxodon is still on bot mode, making RC swing for 9, and then clear her weapon slot free in case we get Taraxodon killed somehow. 2 copies of Reinforcement Baton, recurable equipment at a +1, but it also says when you put it onto a character, you get to scrap an enemy weapon. Again, equipment removal is very, very good, and being able to equip and then de-equip an opponent is even better. And the other card, we are also running 2 copies of Scrapper Gauntlet. This is one of the very few armors we have in the game. I do like equipping this to RC. When you put this onto a character, scrap an enemy weapon if you can't draw a card, so this lets us potentially get a free draw just for equipping. And a scrap also brings RC up to 2 defense in bot mode, which is very, very needed, as she is kind of the crux of the deck. Finally, we're also, well, not finally, but we got one more card. Improved Shield, it's our orange double pip, it's our other armor, gives us plus tough 1. And then rounding out the deck, we are going to be running 2 copies of Bashing Shield. It's another reoccurable armor that says when you put this on a character, scrap an enemy armor. We are already reducing their armor value to 0 with Taraxodon, their base armor anyways. This further knocks off any more bonuses they can get. That way you're swinging at a solid 0 potentially. So it's needed. So guys, that is my deck profile. It is a fun deck. I recommend taking it to locals. Take it to teach. Next time we'll have something a bit more threatening. I am working on my version of Insecticons. I am retooling my Soundwave. I will have many, many tales to tell as I will be continuing my Wednesday night travels over to the local brewery Tailgate over here in Bellevue, Tennessee, which is subdivision of Nashville. I'm hoping to see a lot of people out of state or coming to Nashville for work that are pretty good Transformer players. So I'm looking to up my game by being able to play with them. Hopefully, if you are in the Nashville area, I will see you over at Tailgate Brewery soon. But guys, that'll end the video. As always, please like, subscribe, leave comments. I love talking to everybody. This games community has been an absolute pleasure to be a part of from the get-go. And as always, till R1, and this time, let's say go.